Hey y'all, come on in here. Welcome to Southern Granny. I'm so delighted you could stop by this afternoon and have a chit chat with me at the table. Sorry, Granny's not sitting at the table right now. It's supper time. We got to get started on planning and doing. So it's Monday, and we're going to have an easy meatloaf. You know, time changed this weekend, and you can tell by my hair, I hadn't caught up with it yet. So we're going to do a simple little meatloaf, and let's get started. Now, I have almost 4 pounds of ground beef here. Our recipe calls for 1.5 to 2 pounds. But today, since I'm going to go ahead and make this meatloaf anyway, I have a dear friend who I'm going to make another batch and take over and visit with her and know that she is going to have a delicious meatloaf at her table. And I know she's hungry for some meatloaf sandwiches, y'all. So you can double this recipe and you can either gift it to someone or you can stick it in the freezer and freezer bank it for a day that you are busy, that you just don't feel like it, whatever. You come home, you pull this out of the freezer, stick it in the oven, prop your feet up for about 30 minutes or so, and then you come tell everybody that you have made a delicious dinner for them. That's the fast and good food. Now, a lot of people will go ahead and just dump their ground beef in here. And I admit I used to do it too until I learned better. But it can actually make your meatloaf tough or kind of corky tasting. So, what I like to do is I like to go ahead and dump everything into the bowl, get that good and mixed, and then I add my hamburger meat little bits at a time and mix that in. And that way we don't get too heavy a mix on our meatloaf. Now, our recipe calls for one chopped onion. And some people like it, some people don't. You can put part of an onion in here, you can put 2 onions, however you like it. I'm going to go ahead and add to my empty bowl 1 cup of chopped onion. And that's probably about half of a large onion that equals that. The next thing I'm going to do is I have opened and drained a can of green chilies. My guys come from New Mexico. If I don't throw green chilies in just about everything I make, they feel like I'm depriving them. If you like green chilies, add them. If you don't like them, leave them out. If you've never tried green chilies in your meatloaf, why don't you go ahead and give it a try, honey? It's yummy. So I'm going to just dump that can right off in here. And then I have a 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. I've just opened it. We're going to dump that right into our bowl. It's just a mess right now, but it's a yummy mess. Okay, now we have got 1 egg cracked. I just gave it just a tiny little mix, and I'm going to get that right off in here. And that's it. This is what we have so far. Next, I've got 4 crackers that I just crushed up, and we're going to put those right into our bowl. That's a filler. It's also a binder. The egg and the crackers kind of help hold that meat together so it just won't fall apart on you whenever you take it for a bite. But even when it falls apart on you with the bite, honey, it's still good. It's still good. Now, for our spices, I have 1/4 cup. No. Ooh, please do not add no 1/4 cup. Don't do that. Don't listen to Granny on that. We're going to how about a 1/4 teaspoon? That'd be a whole lot better of garlic salt. I've also got a teaspoon of sage, and I've got a tablespoon of parsley that I like to just crush up just a tiny bit to get those flavors, that essential oil start working in there. And it's healthy benefits and flavor town, honeys, flavor town. So we're going to just drop that right in there. Now we're going to add our salt. And listen, let's just shake that in there till we hear our ancestors say, "Ma chère, that is plenty. That's good." Now we're going to add just a little bit of pepper, round that out as well. And that's it, guys. That right there is all we have to do for our meatloaf, except mix it and add our meat into it. So I'm going to just give this a quick mix, combine everything up. All right, look at that. That is some flavor in there, y'all. Okay. Hey, guys, while I've got you here, I wanted to let you know, whenever I'm chopping any of my vegetables, the onions, carrots, etc., I like to save my peels and end pieces in a Ziploc bag. I stick these in the freezer, and whenever I get enough, I make broth out of them, and I can those up to fill my pantry. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and start saving your peels from your vegetables and your end pieces. Just stick them in the freezer when we get enough. Also save the bones from your chicken or from the beef that you're working with. Stick those in a bag in the freezer as well. And when we get enough gathered up, we're going to come and we're going to make us some homemade broth. And then we're going to can that up. And I hope you will join me and we can do that together. Okay, honeys, back to the meatloaf. So you can use your hands. I like to just use a little fork. And I take my ground beef and I just kind of break it off into pieces and drop it into that bowl. You do it however works for you. Use your hands, use your fork, whatever tool works for you. But this is how I like to do it. And you can see I'm just taking off little fork-sized, bite-sized pieces. And I'm just kind of letting it drop into the bowl. I could also, let's see if you can see me here. I can also just sit here and cut that up with my fork. That works just as good. Hey, you taught me a new way of doing things. Thank you, people. I love you. All right, so now we're just going to drop that into our bowl. All the meat. You know Granny has no escapees on her ship. All right, now the meat's just right now sitting right on top of all that gooiness underneath. We are just going to, I normally use a fork, but that sound can get annoying sometimes. So I'm going to try a spatula. And I'm going to just stir this all together. We don't want to be heavy-handed, but we just kind of want to break that meat up and get everything in every nook and cranny. We want that flavor in every single bite that we have. Now, okay, so we're going to get this mixed very well. And I think that looks good. What do you guys think? Every little bit of that meat is mixed in. It's got some kind of flavor in each little piece. So let's get our pan. Next thing we want to do is just take our bowl of meatloaf and just pull it into our pan. Get all the good bits. You'll want every bite of this, y'all. All right. And then we just kind of gently put it where we want it, like we do our grandchildren, you know. We just gently guide them into where they might want to go. So I'm just going to fill this pan. It's a 13 by 9 casserole dish. You use whatever you got, honeys. Use whatever you got. Okay, so you can see that and I'll bring you up close for it. I'm just kind of getting me a little surface. Nothing is perfect. There's lumps and bumps. That's what you're supposed to have. If you compress this meatloaf, it's going to be corky. It's going to be tough. And you're not going to be happy with it. So light touch with your meat and as little touch really as you have to do to get it how you want it. So this, my loves, is how this meatloaf looks. That's good enough, just like it is. But you know my Holly boys, they like some juice on their stuff. So here we're going to go. I have 4 8-ounce cans of tomato sauce. And I'd like to just pour this all over the top as much as I can get. You do it however you want to. I like to go around the edges, get all them edge pieces covered. And then I'll fill in the middle whenever my edges get done. And then I just pour it right in the middle here. Oh yeah, that's looking good, y'all. We just want to get all of our meat covered, tucking it in like a little blankie. Make sure we don't want dry and burnt and hard. We want juicy and yummy. All right, excellent. So if you don't want as much tomato sauce, you just add what you want to. If you don't like tomato sauce, you want ketchup on there instead, add it. If you don't want any of that, don't worry about it. So here is our completed meatloaf. Well, there you are. All right, so here is our completed meatloaf, and that's going to go in the oven at 375 degrees, and you're going to want to cook that for about an hour, hour and a half. I usually cook it for an hour, but you do what you like. If you've made this up too soon, throw some foil over the top, stick it in the fridge. It'll be ready for supper whenever you're ready to cook it. Again, don't forget, this recipe is so easy and so versatile that you can gift it. You can go share it with a friend, potluck, or freezer bank it. Because I'm hoping you guys are going to help me. We're going to build our pantry. We are going to start adding just a little bit to our pantries every time we cook until we build them up. And I hope you'll come along with me for that ride. So it's pretty easy. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg. I've had a recommendation to just go pick up about 5 cans a week from the grocery store if you can, and just set those up on your pantry. And that way, if you have a day you don't feel like going to the store, or you go to the store and you find out what you're looking for is not there, well, you have a pantry that you can come back to and use what you've got. Okay, so we've wrapped our meatloaf in foil, and we're just going to prop this into the kitchen. And when the Holly boys get home and say, "What's for dinner, Granny?" I'll pull this out. I'll take the foil off the top, and I will put it in my 375-degree oven for about an hour. Now, I'm going to throw in some mashed potatoes and a little bit of gravy to go with this meatloaf and a green vegetable to round it out. And we're going to be eating fine tonight. So y'all let me know if you tried this and if you like it. And what did you do different? How do you make your meatloaf? Let me know down in the comments below. All right. We will see you at the table.
Look at this fine feast that Granny has put on our table. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yes, so we've got meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and white gravy, and green beans. So y'all serve it up. Tell me what you think when it cools off enough to eat. All right, everybody. We got meatloaf, mashed potatoes, cream gravy, and green beans hiding over there in the middle. Guys, what do you think?
Yum, yum. That's delicious.
Good. Very good. 2 thumbs up.
All right. Thank you, guys. You enjoy your dinner. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Monday's meatloaf. It seemed to be a hit for the family. And y'all have a wonderful evening. Don't you ever forget, there's always a seat at Granny's table.